We are witnessing greatness as Lane Hutson continues to dominate in his rookie season, setting records some thought were unbreakable, driving this Montreal Canadiens team to be the best team in the NHL over this past month. And we're going to break it all down for you guys coming up on this episode of Hattrick HQ. But before we get into it, we got to say 91% of you guys watching aren't subscribed to the channel. So if you want to stay up on everything Habs, everything NHL heading into the trade deadline, make sure down below and hit that subscribe button. But Josh, with that said, we got to jump right into Lane Hutson because this guy might be the best defenseman in the NHL at this point in time. Lane Hutson is currently on a 9-game point streak, having 28 points in his last 26 games. Yes, you are seeing that right. It is 28 points in his last 26 games as a rookie defenseman. And if we just continue to look at where he ranks among defensemen currently, he is tied for 4th in assists, 6th in points, tied for 2nd in power play assists, and tied for 7th in power play points. Yes, he is only 20 years old and is proving to be a top 10 defenseman in the NHL right now, in my opinion. And if we just keep going on here, he tied for the point streak, or the 9-game assist streak for rookie defenseman, tying Shane Gosse's record at 9 assists in 9 games, just proving how many records he's breaking at this point. It keeps going on as he is beating PK Subban in points in 30 fewer games in his rookie season. He only had 40 right now. Lane Hutson has 41. I believe he has, is it 42 right now? It might even be, or it might be after the game the other night. But this is leading Coach Marty to say, I know Lane's a rookie, but I don't think he's playing like a rookie right now. I mean, Josh, looking at Lane Hutson, this guy's metrics are off the charts. He keeps continuing to get better, continuing to put points on the board. This guy is unreal.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the only thing we can say at this point. Watching Lane Hutson play hockey is special because not only is he a game changer on the offensive end, a guy that likes to jump into the rush as a defenseman, which changes the entire dynamic of your team, especially a team that likes to play on the rush like the Montreal Canadiens. He's not giving anything back defensively either. Like, he's a solid defensive defenseman. He's not saying he's the best in the world or anything, but he's not even below average. I would say he's at the very least average. But the point production is the most insane thing to me. I mean, over this past month-ish, since December 17th, the Montreal Canadiens are 13-3-1. Since then, they're the number 1 team in the NHL in goals for per game. They're the number 1 team in terms of record. And guess who the leading scorer is on that number 1 team in the league since December 17th? It is Lane Hutson. He has 19 points in 17 games. Suzuki and Caulfield are each at exactly 17 points in 17 games. Laine's at 13 points in 13 games. He missed a few with a flu. But Lane Hutson, what I find the most crazy of all this, Casey, is the fact, like, how he changes this offense, right? And it's a team now that where he took over that first power play. This first power play, the percentage is maybe not as high as you'd like, but it looks different, right? The threats are everywhere. He took over for Mike Matheson, which in turn, again, as I'm saying, changes the entire dynamic of your team, where Mike Matheson, who had 60-plus points last season, can now transition to a more defensive role, where Matheson's now one of, and in a lot of games, the most used penalty killer on the team. So him and Hutson, which is a duo that we thought would never work, is working much better than expected. It's allowing Matheson to thrive in a more defensive role with offensive upside as opposed to a pure offensive defenseman. It's allowing for the other defensemen down the lineup to play these more depth roles. Caden Gooley and Alex Carrier are now the shutdown combo. So basically what I'm saying is, yeah, he looks like an NHL veteran. Like Marty said, he doesn't look like a rookie. And the way that he is changing the whole makeup of this team with the way he's been playing, not to mention the fact he's calmed his game down a lot over the past few weeks, is just, it's unbelievable to witness. And I think if you told me what his production would be at this point, I don't think I would have believed you.
And the amount of flack this guy got from other fan bases at the beginning of the season, he's kind of like saying, hey, look at me now. I got 28 points in 26 games. You know, I'm not a bust. I'm not the worst defenseman in the NHL. I'm actually one of the best. I mean, he got a lot of flack for giving up the puck, turning over the puck, his plus minus. But plus minus isn't everything in hockey. I mean, if he can go out there and consistently put points up right now, what he's doing is unheard of. It is crazy production out of him. him from the blue line. But if he can continue on this production the rest of the season, maybe not even being a point per game, maybe even just putting up a point every second, third game is going to help out this Montreal Canadiens team. I mean, if you had to tell me at the beginning of this year the Montreal Canadiens will be fighting for a playoff spot 40 plus games into the season, I would have laughed in your face. This team is unreal. The what they have going right now, whatever Marty has cooking in that locker room is working. I mean, they're just a bunch of young guys that just want to go out and get it done for the city of Montreal, and that is exactly what they're doing. Yes, they might have lost to the Leafs in a bad way, but they're beating good teams. They're beating Tampa Bay. They're beating, Colorado. They're beating
Florida, Vegas, add to the list.
Washington. They're beating the best teams in the league. So, you take a loss to a Columbus every now and then. Those games do happen. But it's all on the back of Lane Hutson being able to quarterback this offense. He moves the puck around like a wizard. It's like you're watching the Lord of the Rings sometimes about what he does with the puck. It is crazy the way that Lane Hutson can maneuver his body along the boards and still get a pass off across the ice to a Caulfield or something like that. It is insane the stuff he's doing right now. And the fact that he's only 20 years old, he has a lot of time to improve. This guy is going to be very, very special for the Montreal Canadiens going forward, Josh.
And another thing too, I mean, we're talking about the future of the Habs. I mean, we still got guys on deck like a David Reinbacher who we're still unsure of as to what he's going to look like. I mean, injuries have stunted his development maybe. He's still got probably a few years before we'll know. But you got Demidov, who is the best prospect in the NHL that's not in the NHL. This guy's been insane. But the big thing with Montreal right now is you have so many draft picks. You have so many things that you can do moving forward. Not only is Lane Hutson on pace to be a top 5 scoring rookie defenseman of all time, and has a chance to break the record for most points ever by a rookie defenseman. By the way, the rest of the top 5, it was all done in the 80s when scoring was up. So just saying, that's nuts on its own. But we look at the future. We look at Montreal's assets that they still have. They're in a playoff spot. They have the leading points or the leading scorer among all rookies in Lane Hutson, the guy who could very well win the Calder. It's going to come down to him and Celebrini, it looks like. You have the best affiliated prospect in Demidov, and you have a ton of picks. Now, Casey, I know we were going to discuss this. When it comes to these picks, I don't know. I have my opinion on what they're going to do with the picks. I think Montreal makes a big trade. I know you're going to mention something about the deadline, but my point right now is when it comes to the draft, a lot of these picks are going to get traded before the draft. Picks are worth a lot more to teams when they can pick the players that they want, as opposed to Montreal drafting all these guys and trying to trade them later if they have too many. I'm just saying, Casey, I don't know when it's going to happen, but right now, not only does Montreal have some of the best prospects in the entire NHL, they have all the assets they need to just continue to bolster this team for years to come.
Yeah, if I'm sitting back as Kent Hughes right now, I am looking at what I have, and that's 7 picks within the first 4 rounds. 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the third, and I'm kind of like, what do I do with this? Do I trade it? Do I keep it? What do I do? And right now, he looks at the position in the league they're in right now. They're fighting for a wildcard spot, even though it's very close with all the teams, basically on 52 points. He could easily go out there and say, hey, maybe we are ready to compete. Maybe he's drinking the Kool-Aid here and saying, hey, this Montreal team, we can make the playoffs. And maybe he's going to make a move so that can happen. And I know we were talking before we started recording, Josh, and one guy that I really want to see in a Montreal Canadiens uniform is Alexis Lafreniere. And I think that could be a very, very big trade that shocks the NHL. But it's a guy, he's from Quebec. He bleeds the blue, red, and white for the Montreal Canadiens.
And the Rangers, I guess.
And the Rangers, yeah. But I do think that this guy would get a career rejuvenation in Montreal.
I mean, there's a lot of things they could do. I mean, whether the Rangers are looking to move him or not, of course, he's locked up until 2032 at about $7.5 million, which fits the Habs cap structure in terms of, you want to stay under the captain. We'll have to wait and see on that. But, a big move like that, whether it's him or whether it's someone else, it's not out of the question. We heard a lot of trade rumors surrounding Mikko Rantanen, who's an upcoming UFA. My guess is he's probably not going to get moved. Colorado's probably going to extend him, but their cap situation isn't great. Whether or not Montreal makes a trade at this deadline, whether they start to buy, I don't think they're going to go out and acquire any expiring deals just to compete. That doesn't feel like part of their goal. Kent has pretty much said as much, but it might mean that they keep some guys that they were originally willing to trade. Someone like a Savard or a Mia, even though I think Savard is almost certainly gone at the deadline because of the return you'd get for him. It is an interesting position. You have all the assets to make a big trade to bring people in, but you don't want to rush this thing, right? Montreal has young prospects. They have the ability to make a big splash for any player on a team where they're looking to get rid of some guys. But I think KC, that what he cares about the most is building yourself up for the future and building sustainability. So I don't know what is going to happen. I don't know if they're going to make a big splash in unrestricted free agency. I don't know if they're going to trade all these picks and some prospects for some big name. But what I do know is some huge things are coming from Montreal, and I think a lot sooner than we think.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing Kent has done for us ever since he's become the GM of the Montreal Canadiens is set us up for the future. Look at the position we're in right now. I mean, it's all because of Kent Hughes. And it is. You know, you can't put it on anybody else. Yes, Marty has been a great coach as well and has reason the team's playing so good right now. But Kent Hughes, man, he has been cooking up something. He is one hell of a GM, and I'm really excited to see what he's going to do at this deadline, because I think he could go out and make a shocking move, but I also do think he could have a reserved place as well and kind of say, hey, you know, if someone comes to me, I'll make a trade, that kind of thing as well. But it's going to be interesting to see what the Montreal Canadiens do for the rest of the season. We want to hear your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. Are you drinking the Kool-Aid like myself and Josh right now? Do you think the Montreal Canadiens are going to make the playoffs? Let us know down below in the comment section. And if you enjoyed this one, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be here every day bringing you the latest NHL news. You're not going to want to miss out on that. But as always, I've been your host, Casey, alongside my co-host, Josh Gosse. We'll catch you in the next one.